Hi everyone, this is Gayle. I'm glad you're able to join me today. I have a new project. I want to tell you a little bit about it. It's a very inexpensive project. I'm using a Dollar Tree thing that I found. It's a fall project. And I am using a cane that I did make, but I made it on my Patreon page so that only my patrons are going to see how I made that particular cane. But don't worry, you can make it with, you can make your project without it. You can just use whatever scraps that you have. So anyway, I hope you enjoy this. So let's get crafting. Hello everyone, this is Gayle. And as you may not be able to see, I think I put my camera out so you can't see it right now. I have got all different colors. Let me come out just a little bit so you can see. All different colors of clay that I have chopped up and put in little bowls. And I'll show you, what I'm planning on doing. But before I get started on that, I thought I would show you, when I say chop, what I mean by chop. This is a square of burnt umber clay, just one square. I'm going to slice it into slices. They don't have to be even. You're just trying to get it started and to cut it into small pieces. And then I turn it this way. And I cut this way. And I try not to get it all stuck together. Then I start chopping with my blade. Now this is a stiff blade. A flexible blade doesn't work as well, but if that's all you've got, use it. But if you have a stiff blade, or even a razor blade, if you have a razor blade, if you don't have a stiff polymer clay blade. And then you can stir it like this, which usually brings your bigger pieces up to the top because that's what's usually on the bottom. And just keep cutting. Change the direction of your blade, but just keep cutting until you've got it pretty finely chopped. And I'm going to put this to the side because I'm going to be using that and mixing some of this other with it. But let me show you what we're going to do. I went to Dollar Tree the other day looking for something. My paint must not have been really dry when I put it on this napkin. I thought it was. But that's all right. I'm going to put felt on the bottom anyway. But I don't think I have my file stuff here. But anyway, this is a little acorn thing that I found at Dollar Tree. It was actually a, I don't think this was a paint set. Some of them were paint sets. But I think this was just a decorative piece of balsa wood. And what I did is I have painted it with my bronze acrylic paint. And I like this Reeves acrylic paint. I've only seen it in a set, which is on my Amazon page, but it's got bronze, copper, silver, and gold. And it's a wonderful, wonderful acrylic paint. Got a lot of body to it. It's not watery like the ones that come in a bottle. But I painted the whole thing, including the bottom, which I did that first, and I honestly thought it was dry. I might be able to get some more of this paper off. But I am going to put a felt bottom on it. But I painted even the inside because you don't know what part's going to be seen. And what I'm going to do is cover this, the acorn part, with polymer clay to make a nice fall accent. I'm not sure, it's not really big enough to use for napkins, but it would be really nice for if you're setting a table and you're going to use plastic knives or forks. You could put one of those in here. You could make several of these and use one for knives, one for forks, one for spoons. It's just really a nice little, it's a cute little thing to have. And so first what I'm going to do, I let the paint dry, and I'm doing that mainly because being wood, you need to do something to get the clay to stick to it, and this gives it a pretty good tooth. Plus the fact that it's balsa wood, actually that has a lot of tooth to it too. But I have this cane. You know, I'm trying to use up all my old canes. I have this cane that I have had literally for 20 years. It was one of the first canes I ever made, and it's a Donna Cato thing that I learned at one of her workshops on what she uses when she makes her landscapes or anything with flowers or whatever. She has these beautiful branches, the tree branches, and this is what she uses for the tree branches. So I was going to use this because it is an old cane, but I did a Patreon video, and I don't think there's enough of this, really. I'm going to go ahead and use this after all. But I'm going to need a backing to put these slices on, because I'm going to roll the slices pretty thin. And I'm going to mix these clays for different things. Anyway, this is some scrap. And this is some brown. I may slice some of this to put in with my scrap. And then maybe I can use this cane to cover it up. This is really pretty because I put some sparkle in it, so that's why I want to use this. It's also freshly made, so it's going to take a while for it to cool off so I can use it. But I'm going to take this, I'm going to roll it, get rid of all my trash. I'm going to roll it with my roller so I can get it thin enough to go through my pasta machine. And I'm going to turn the video off while I run it through the pasta machine. I'm going to run it through several times on the thickest setting, and then I'm going to go thinner, and I'll let you know when I get back how far I went. So I'll be right back. Okay, I ended up rolling this down to the number 5. And I do think I'm going to use this, at least on the front. I may end up using that one on the back, but I am going to put this in the refrigerator for a little while and let it cool off. And then I will be back, because otherwise I'm not going to be able to slice this very thin, because it is, like I said, it's freshly made. So I will be back when this cools off. Okay, I'm back, and my cane is all nice and cold. I just got it out of the refrigerator. And I'm going to slice some thin slices and put it on here, on my backing. Actually, I probably ought to do it this way because the ends are a little bit thin. I can overlap them to help. And I'm going to make a veneer that hopefully will be big enough to cover my acorn top. This is going to be for the top. This one is, well, I'll just put it on here anyway. It's going to be a little thicker. I'm going to add this one on here because that had a thin end. Let's see how wide my top is. Okay. And I'm just going to keep building. And I am going to overlap a little bit only because some of this is, I'm cutting thinner because I'm sitting away from my piece, which makes it hard for me to do it solid, you know, even. Did you see what I did there? I sliced and didn't get a full slice, so I cut off a little bit from the top. So that makes a whole slice. I just want to make sure I have enough of this one to cover my acorn top. And I think if I just put a little bit here on the side, I will have that done. And I'm going to trim some of this excess scrap off because I'll probably use that for the bottom. But the reason I put this on scrap is so I wouldn't have to cut the slices that thick, so I could get more slices out of it. So let me just do this, and then I'm going to use my pastry scraper to get it up. And I'll turn the sound off while I run this through the pasta machine. Okay, so I rolled it through once, and I'm on the thickest setting, so I'm going to roll it through one more time. I'm going to turn it just to make sure that this gets done evenly. So again, I'm going to turn the camera off. Okay, so I ended up rolling this down to the number 3 setting, and this might be enough for both sides. So let me see. I'm going to take this and lay it this way. And trim, not just loosely, I'm not trying to trim exact. Just so I can pick this up. And I will use, well, this is gonna, here it is. So only problem with using a pastry scraper is that you lose track of it. So I'm going to lay this down and lay this across where I trimmed it. There we go. And actually I'm going to slice from the back because there is a little slit here, and that will give me a better idea of the shape that I need. And I believe I've got the wrong side up. I do. I hope it still works. It does. But you can see this little slit here? This is what I was aiming for. So let me place this back down. And I'm going to get my craft knife to go in this little slit and trim this off here. because I like that little slit. It also helps you see which is the front and which is the back of this acorn. Actually, I can just pull this off. And I will trim across there to make this even. And what I'm going to do is just press this down. Now you see there's a little place missing right there. And I just happen to have a little piece right here that I can push in there. And because this is different colors, this will blend in pretty well. But what I want to do is I wanted to roll this across the top. And also along the side and bottom if I can. And I'm going to probably trim that off when I'm finished. Let me find my little smoothing tool. Get rid of that seam. And I'm just going to press this across the top. Only it's not going to cover the top, but I just want it to kind of cup the top of this. And see how this is overlapping right here? I'll come back with my blade and just trim that off, edge even with the edge. And I'll do the same with all these other little places that came over. Just trim it off. Cut the wood a little bit right there. Try not to do that. And I'll probably put like a brownish green up here for the stem, but this is the top of my acorn. And this end also is overlapping a little bit, so I'll just trim this off. Just take your time. I'm probably doing this much faster than you would because I'm trying to save time in the video. And get rid of all these little pieces before it interferes with something. But then what I'm going to do, and I might wait till the end, I'm going to take a ball tool. You know, on an acorn, if you look at the top, it's got little divots in it. So I'm going to take a ball tool, and let me find my largest ball tool, this one. And I'm just going to start going like this along the top. And do the entire top. See how I did that? And that's going to take care of any blemishes, anything that is there that you didn't really want there. But I'm going to do this all at the end. So now we've got to do the body. Now the body, and see I have this left over for this side, hopefully. I'm just going to lay this over, laid it over on top of itself. There. So now I'm going to show you what I was going to do with all these little bits of clay. And actually I could chop this up and add it to it. Well, I'll just save that in case I need it for a backing. So again, I'm going to take some lighter clays. I'm going to take a little bit of ecru for the lightest one. And of course a little bit of gold, because that's a little bit darker. And a little bit of raw sienna. I had to think a minute because that's a little bit darker. And then some of the burnt umber, which is really dark. And I'll add a few little specks of orange. And a few little specks of red. This is actually that cayenne, which is one of the newer Primo colors, and I love it because it's a red without being a bright red. And I might even add a little bit of yellow just to add some interest, and maybe some green, again just for a little interest. And I'm going to mix it up. Now this one I'm not going to do like I did the top one, but I'm going to mash this down and make a little square out of it. Kind of pack the edges. Sorry for the noise. I've got everything piled over here in one place. Get my edges kind of packed in. Try to make this one kind of rectangular if you can. Then turn it over and press this side. Do the same thing. By now the edges are all compact. Then take your roller and roll it down. And what you want to do is roll it so that it's closer to the thickness of your pasta machine, because you don't want to stress your pasta machine. And I may bring my pasta machine over here. Let me move this out of the way. I may need to make 2 of these, or make this bigger. So why don't I'll just make 2. I'll do the second one off camera. So let me just move this out of the way. And I'll move my pasta machine over here so you can see what I'm doing. And this is just a piece of cardstock that I made, that I put I made a little, I folded in one end, sort of like a little box, and just slide it under here so that it catches all the little pieces from my pasta machine. But I'm going to roll this through the thickest setting. Sorry for the noise. I'm going to go down. I'm actually going to go to the number 2 because my thickest setting is a 0, but there's not much difference at all between the 0 and the 1. So I'm going down to a 2. I'm turning, it went through this way. Now I'm turning it this way. And I'll roll that. And then what I'm going to do, if I can find my blade that I put over here, I'm going to cut this in half, fold it over, and then roll it through again on the number 2. Actually, I'm going to go back to the 0. And you can see it's got different colors. Just be looking at both sides because you need to pick a side. But I'm just trying to add some color. I might do this one more time. Only this time I'm going to go this way. I'm still on the thickest setting. Okay, it's beginning to look interesting. I'm going to lay it in that way. I'm going to go down to the number, whoops, I squeezed it in there. I didn't mean to. Go to the number 2. This time I'm going to fold it and put it in the number 2. That's getting me more what I want. Then I'm going to take it down to a number 3 and put it in sideways. Okay, I think that's going to do it. Let me move my pasta machine back out of the way. I love this pasta machine because I don't have to worry about bolting it down. So first I'm going to look, and there's this little crescent here that's cut out. So I'm going to first find the side that I think would make the best acorn. And I'm thinking that might be it there. It's not quite wide enough. So what I'm going to do is roll it this, well, yeah, I'm going to roll it this way. Bring my pasta machine back over. The fold is right here, so I'm going to roll it through this way. But isn't that pretty? It's got all the colors in it, but this really looks more like the bottom of an acorn. And I'm going to cut, let's see, how is this going to go? I'm going to cut this way with the sharp edge of my blade. But don't worry, I don't ever use a sharp blade unless I really need a sharp blade because of things like that. So I'm going to lay that there. I'm going to trim loosely around here. I'll fix it later. And I need to trim along here. I'm going to use my craft knife because it's easier to get up in here with a craft knife than it is with a blade. And I'm cutting along the top of that crevice. And you can see this didn't quite cover and up there at the top, but that's okay. Because I can take, actually I think I will take this and smooth it out a little bit. And I will take this and smooth it out a little, smooth that. And kind of stick this in here. Again, it's going to blend. You take this and just blend it. Actually, I don't need all this. But it's stuck now, so I guess I'm stuck with it. So I'm putting my hands on the inside because this wood is very easy to break. So if I go do any pressing, I need to hold on to the back. And we're going to do like we did with the top, the cap, is I'm going to bend this around and make sure everything gets covered. And I'm going to trim this with the craft knife if I can get in here. And then remember, I said I cut across the top of that crevice, so now I'm going to come back, find the end of the crevice, now I'm going to cut this along the bottom side of the crevice, which will give a little space. Let me get all this out of the way. Give a little space between the cap and the nut. Just to add a little interest. Because this is not a realistic acorn, this is an artistic acorn. And let me put my fingers up under here and give this a roll, get this blended in. I probably should have tried to keep all these stripes are running this way. This is kind of going up and down, but it might give it a look of a shadow. And I'm just going to use this to kind of blur that line. And I'll get a piece of patty paper and just burnish it with my fingers, kind of smooth it out a little bit. And here I need to get rid of my fingernail prints. I was just looking at my nails a little while ago thinking that my nails are awfully long, and sure enough they get in the way. And then just tidy it up a little bit. I'm just going to reach in here because I'm going to make a little dent through here where there is no crevice, just to kind of give it that same separation. And then trim it up. Make sure you look at all the little corners, like down here. Make sure that little corner gets cut out so it doesn't look too straight down here at the end. And I may just leave that stem the bronze color. But then, like I said before, I'm going to go back and I'm going to put these little divots all over the top. Sorry, I heard my dog into something. I had to look and see what she was getting into. Now the back of this has not been done. I would follow the exact same process on the back, but I think I would bake this first so that this side doesn't get mashed while you're working on the other side. So like here, I'd have to go through and make sure everything is trimmed up good all the way around. All the little edges are smoothed out. And I'll just finish this, and then I'll put this in the oven, and then I'll finish the other side exactly the same way, and then take a picture of it completed. But I did a Patreon video for my patrons. They're the ones that contribute $10 or more a month to support my art. And it really does help me. I'm getting low on clay now, so their help is going to really come in handy this month because I need to buy more clay. That's one reason I hated to buy new clay when I had all this old clay sitting around. So I've been working to use up the old clay. I don't know where that little piece of orange came from, but it just appeared. But there you go. And this would be the front. It's going to have the bronze bottom. And I am going to take this and just smooth across the bottom because it still was a little rough looking. But I think this would look really nice. Oh, there's another. I forgot that second little divot. I didn't cut that out. I'm sorry. I just was smoothing and all of a sudden my fingers went in. I went, oh, that's right. There's another little divot in here. Though I could hear some of y'all probably shouting, don't forget to cut out the divot or the crevice. There you go. Now this does have a little, the side piece here does come up here so you can see it through there, but being that bronze color, it kind of looks like it's supposed to be there. But this kind of adds, it sort of looks like a light shining on your acorn. You clean up this point here. But there you go. This is going to be so cute, but I will do a finished picture. I'm still trying to get all my fingernail prints out of here. My thumbnail is what it is. People are always asking me about getting my nails done. I don't see how some of these artists that work with clay and have these beautiful nails, I don't see how they do it. But there, can you see the sparkle in the top? But this would look very pretty on a Thanksgiving table, any kind of fall table, or just sit it on a bookshelf and put little dried leaves or something in there. So I hope you enjoyed this. I will show the finished product before, at the end of the video. But I just wanted you to see this. But I hope you enjoyed it. I know I did. It was a lot of fun. And I will see you again soon for another polymer clay video. Bye-bye.